Getting Rich with Your Salary. 8 Golden Principles from Brian Tracy. Have you ever wondered if it's possible to get rich just with a fixed salary? Most people would shake their heads and say it's nearly impossible. They believe that without a large inheritance, a stroke of luck, or a personal business, you're destined to merely scrape by, struggling with bills and distant dreams. But what if I told you that this belief is completely wrong? Brian Tracy, one of the world's leading experts on financial success, asserts that anyone, even with a modest salary, can build substantial wealth. The secret lies in applying simple yet powerful principles that very few people actually put into practice. In this article, I'll share with you 8 ways to transform your salary into a foundation for wealth, based on Brian Tracy's advice. These principles have been tested and proven effective through my own personal experience. If you're ready to take control of your finances and shape a prosperous future, read on until the end. And don't forget, share your thoughts in the comments below and let me know which principle you'll start with first. Chapter 1. Live below your means. Most of us are accustomed to spending everything we earn, or even more than that. Many people fall into the trap of debt, juggling credit card payments and installment loans, living in a financial spiral with no way out. They work hard, but by the end of the month, their bank accounts are empty. The result? They're stuck in a life that doesn't progress, with no surplus to invest in their future. Brian Tracy emphasizes a simple but profound truth. The first step to wealth is to spend less than you earn. It sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised how few people actually do this. I personally fell into the trap of uncontrolled spending. With a salary equivalent to $1,500 a month, I covered rent, transportation, food, entertainment, and whenever there was a little left over, I'd buy things I didn't really need, from trendy clothes to the latest tech gadgets. The result was that I had no savings, not even $100 in reserve. Everything changed when I heard a phrase that jolted me. If you can't live on 90% of your income, you won't be able to live on double that amount. That was a wake-up call. I decided to conduct an experiment, cut back on expenses, and live below my income. I moved to a smaller, cheaper apartment, reduced eating out, and started tracking every single expense. Most importantly, I committed to saving 10% of my salary each month. After 6 months, I had $900 in a savings account. Not a huge amount, but it was a turning point. I had broken the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. Now, I wasn't just surviving, I was building a future. The lesson here is, it's not about how much you earn, but how much you keep. This leads us to the second principle. Chapter 2. Save 10% of your income. Pay yourself first. Brian Tracy often emphasizes a golden rule. If you pay yourself first, you will never be poor. This means that every time you receive your salary, you must set aside at least 10% for savings before spending on anything else. Not rent, not utility bills, not shopping. Many people claim they can't save because their income isn't enough. But the truth is, when you make saving a non-negotiable obligation, like a bill you can't skip, you'll find ways to adjust your spending to adapt, just as you always manage to pay for rent or gas. I started by setting aside $150 from my $1,500 monthly salary. On payday, I transferred that amount to a separate savings account, unlinked to any debit card, to avoid the temptation to withdraw it. At first, it was challenging. I had to give up expensive outings, cut back on non-essential services, and learn to live more simply. But the remarkable thing was, after a few months, I realized I wasn't missing out on anything essential. Life was still fulfilling, and my savings account began to grow. After 1 year, I had $1,800 saved. After 2 years, that number surpassed $4,000, not counting interest. That money wasn't just savings. It was the foundation for my first real investment, opening a new chapter in my financial journey. Saving isn't about putting away what's left after spending. It's about prioritizing saving before spending anything. It's about discipline, long-term vision, and respect for your future. Chapter 3. Make your money work for you. Saving is the foundation, but saving alone isn't enough. If you leave your money sitting in a non-interest-bearing account, inflation will quietly erode its value. Brian Tracy advises, you must become an investor. Your money needs to work for you, even when you're sleeping. At first, I thought investing was something complex, reserved for the wealthy or finance experts with advanced degrees. But a single sentence changed my perspective. If you don't learn to invest, you'll work your whole life for money. But if you invest, money will work for you. With my initial $1,800 in savings, I began researching safe investment options, from interest-bearing savings accounts to mutual funds and fixed-income bonds. I didn't take big risks but focused on stable choices to learn the ropes. In the first few months, my returns were modest, just a few dollars in interest, but I noticed something magical. My money started to grow. I kept contributing regularly, and the interest began to compound. Over time, I grew more confident and diversified my portfolio. Index funds, stocks in reputable companies, and even a small digital business venture. Today, a portion of my income comes from investments, no longer solely dependent on my salary. Investing isn't about getting rich quick. It's about planting seeds today to harvest tomorrow. Start, even with a small amount. The perfect moment doesn't come, you create it. Chapter 4. Invest in yourself, your most valuable asset. Brian Tracy once said, "The most profitable investment is the one you make in yourself." Your skills, knowledge, and mindset are intangible capital, but they yield the highest returns. When I began my financial journey, I hesitated to spend money on courses, books, or mentorship programs. I worried, what if it's not worth it? But a single phrase opened my eyes. If you think education is expensive, try the cost of ignorance labor. I decided to allocate at least 5% of my income to personal development. I bought books on finance, time management, and personal growth. I enrolled in online courses on investing, sales, and leadership. One course led to a promotion at work, significantly boosting my income. Another inspired me to launch a small side business that still generates passive income today. Each new skill built my confidence, and with confidence came bolder, smarter decisions. Investing in yourself is recognizing that you are your greatest asset. When you grow, everything around you grows: your income, opportunities, and wealth. Chapter 5. Build multiple streams of income. Most people rely on a single source of income, their salary. But what happens if that source suddenly disappears due to a job loss, economic downturn, or an unexpected event? Brian Tracy teaches, financial security doesn't come from a good job, but from multiple income streams. When I first heard this, I felt uneasy. I had just one job, and the idea of creating additional income sources seemed like a distant dream. But I decided to start small. Using my writing skills, I began freelancing in my spare time, earning $50 here, $100 there. Within 3 months, this side hustle was generating 20% of my main salary. Next, I started a blog and monetized it with ads. Later, I invested in a real estate fund that paid monthly dividends. Today, I have 4 income streams. If one falters, the others keep the cash flowing. This provides not just security, but also freedom and peace of mind. Don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Start with what you have: your skills, time, and network. Each small step is a brick in the foundation of your financial future. Chapter 6. Create a long-term financial plan. Most people live without a clear financial plan. They spend impulsively, work hard, and hope things will somehow work out. But Brian Tracy asserts, financial success is not an accident. It's the result of a well-executed plan. I gained real control over my finances when I sat down and wrote specific goals. How much to save in 12 months, when to pay off debts, how much to invest monthly, and my desired income in 5, 10, and 20 years. This plan became my roadmap. Every decision, from grocery shopping to pursuing new income opportunities, was guided by these long-term goals. Within 2 years, I achieved milestones that once seemed impossible, like paying off all my debts and building substantial savings. Planning isn't about predicting the future, it's about preparing for it. With a clear roadmap, unexpected challenges become more manageable because you know where you're headed. Chapter 7. Master your debts. Brian Tracy is blunt. The money you owe is money working against you. Debt doesn't just drain your income. It steals your peace, your sleep, and your freedom. For years, I was trapped in credit card debt, paying the minimum, rolling over the balance, and promising myself I'd pay it off someday. But that day never came, and interest charges quietly ate away at my salary. A mentor told me, "You'll only prosper when you eliminate what's holding you back." I created an aggressive debt repayment plan, listing all my debts, sorting them by amount and interest rate, and tackling them from smallest to largest. I sold and used items, cut luxury expenses, and used extra income to accelerate the process. In 14 months, I cleared all my debts. The feeling of freedom was indescribable. I breathed easier, slept better, and thought more clearly. I made a promise to myself: never take on debt that doesn't generate value or profit. Controlling debt is about taking command of your financial life. Hashtag Chapter 8. Cultivate a wealth mindset. Brian Tracy declares, financial success begins in the mind. Before you have money in your pocket, you must have wealth in your thoughts. For a long time, I limited myself with phrases like, money isn't everything, or I wasn't born to be a millionaire. These seemed harmless, but they were invisible barriers, making me settle for a smaller life than I was capable of. Everything changed when I realized that wealth isn't just about money. It's about responsibility. The responsibility to grow, protect your family, pursue your dreams, and create value for others. I started changing my language and mindset. Instead of "I can't," I asked, "How can I?" Instead of "That's too expensive," I asked, "How can I afford it?" I read books by successful people, watched interviews, connected with those who had walked the path before me, and most importantly, I stopped making excuses for wanting more. Wealth is a mental state before it's a bank balance. When you believe you deserve abundance, you act like someone ready to receive it. Opportunities appear, you work with greater focus, and doors open. Conclusion: wealth is a lifestyle. You absolutely can get rich with your salary. Brian Tracy's 8 principles aren't magic. They're a blend of discipline, vision, and persistent action. You don't need to wait for a big break or a windfall of cash. Start today with what you have, right where you are. Apply one principle at a time, taking small steps each day. Financial success isn't a destination, it's a lifestyle. It's built through every decision, every month, and every year. Believe in your potential, and you'll see that the future isn't just a dream, it's something you can achieve.